Behold the glory of Megatron! Presented here by the Yolopark AMK Pro Series Megatron model kit. This figure is absolutely fantastic, and I have Yolopark to thank for sending me over this figure to review for you guys. If it's something you think you may be interested in by the end of the video, please check the description and the pinned comment for a direct link if you want to order it yourself. I have been highly anticipating Yolopark's AMK Pro series for quite some time, ever since I saw the first pictures of this Megatron, and then the next guy we have to talk about. I have been very, very hyped over this release, and it does not disappoint. It really doesn't. I pretty much only have, like, one really, really small gripe and one, like, genuine gripe, but overall, like, the figure itself is great. Now, obviously, I feel like I always have to mention this is a non-transforming model kit action figure of the character of Megatron. This is not necessarily a Transformer toy. It is, like I said, a model kit action figure of a Transformers character. So, if you want a Megatron that transforms, I have great news. You have hundreds of options. This is just a really nice option if you just want a really nice robot mode version of our favorite Decepticon leader. Well, I kind of prefer Galvatron, but anyways, I love this figure. It is absolutely fantastic. And before we get into the figure itself, I want to talk about his box, because it's really cool, and a lot of the accessories he comes with. So his box is just genuinely impressive to me. I just love the artwork. I love all of the little stylings. Yolopark Megatron tells you it's die-cast. It just gives you all of the what to know with the toy. And then it has a slipcover where you have this really awesome metallic image of Megatron holding the planet. It is just so cool. It's one of those boxes where I definitely don't see myself throwing it out. It is very gorgeous. I built the figure off camera because I kind of want to save the building process for when you get this guy, because it's actually really fun. It's not the kind of model kit you have to snip out and paint and everything. It's pretty much like a Build-A-Figure where you just take the pieces, plug them together, and there you go. But it is honestly a very satisfying experience just to build your own Megatron. Alrighty, what does he come with? He comes with quite a bit. So when it comes to interchangeable pieces on him, obviously he has his hands, his fusion cannon, and his face. You can interchange all of those components. So starting up with his face, I actually decided to go for the more unusual noggin that he comes with. This is kind of a little bit more angular, a little bit more detailed, and a little bit more stylized. I just think it looks really, really cool, and this is probably the face I'm going to stick with. It's not pure G1 cartoon, I know, but it just looks so cool. It's exactly what I envisioned Megatron to look like. To remove the faceplate, it's pretty simple. Pretty much just peel it away, and you can see there's just a few tabs right there. You can see right there what kind of batteries this figure takes. I do not have those batteries while I'm currently filming, but here is some B-roll of once I've gotten the batteries a couple days later after I'm filming. I just really want to show off how pretty these lights look. They look so cool. It actually comes packaged with this face, and it's very reminiscent of the Masterpiece Megatron. It's just a classic G1 laughing Megatron. He's laughing maniacally over something, I'm sure. And last and maybe least, depending on your perspective, here it is with the standard stoic G1 Megatron head. I think it looks very nice. It definitely looks the part, it looks nice. But I do have to say, something about the lips just looks a little off to me. I don't know, it could look a little better, but it's still very nice. His fusion cannon is a detachable accessory. It comes detached in the box, and you can see it is actually very, very cool. You can slide this forward and back if you want, depending on the size you want to make it. And this also takes batteries. I actually had the kind of batteries for this, so we can see shines a nice bright red. Looks very, very cool. I always appreciate some nice lights. This one works with a button, and the one on the head actually works, interestingly, with a hidden magnet in one of the accessories. The barrel of his gun mode, if we remove this, has a magnet attached to the bottom, and when you light up the lights, you just tap the head and it lights up. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I really appreciate that. For the hands, it's G1 Megatron, so obviously one of these hands is going to come off for his mace. But I do want to show with his hands, kind of stiff to remove, but they are very nicely articulated. They are very nice hands. Those knuckles are all grouped together, and then he has an individual pointer hand, and then he has a thumb that can move in and out a little bit. The thumb's not on a ball joint or anything, and it's just on a swivel, but still a very nice hand. And we do have his Energon mace, and that looks very, very cool. I love all the hinges. They're very nice and tight. So we can just plug that in, and then he is ready to fight on Hoover Dam. Looking very, very cool. I might display him with that just because it looks so cool. What else does he have? He has an interchangeable piece for his chest, actually. Also, going back to the Masterpiece Megatron, we can remove his die-cast chest piece, which is very, very nice. And we can exchange it for this one, not die-cast, but it's battle-damaged. So if we want him to look all battle-damaged and everything, that looks very, very cool. And he also comes with just a few more accessories that are kind of scene-specific. He does have his sword, which is a very nice inclusion. Always nice to see the Megatron sword, a pretty obscure weapon for Megatron, but still very cool to see it. He grips that perfectly well. Looks very, very nice. He also has his pistol, very interestingly. I don't think he has hands with tabs in them. Nope, he doesn't have tabs, but that's okay, because he seems to hold everything perfectly fine, just with the stiffness of the finger joints. So he's got his little pistol to shoot Optimus Prime. Very, very iconic. And last but not least, he also comes with, just like the Masterpiece, a die-cast key to Vector Sigma. So he comes with a lot of stuff, and I'm very impressed with his accessory loadout. Getting him back to a more default and personally preferred configuration, look at all of this detail. This guy is covered in paint. He has all these little specklings and wears and tears. Like, all these little scratches that are actually still showing up on the silver look gorgeous. The Decepticon symbol looks incredible. I love all the subtle little, like, black washing in his abdomen and in other recesses. Again, his head is just so beautifully detailed. The fusion cannon, again, has a lot of nice silver scuffing on it. The paint application on this is incredible. This is seriously on par with high-end 3.0 kind of stuff. It is such a nice paint job. Again, nice little scuffings. I actually like some of the browns you see. There's like some natural colors coming in for the weathering, and it just adds a lot, in my opinion. Kind of like some rust or something. Even down to the legs. You can just see it's kind of goes more matte, and I think that looks very nice. Some nice scuffing. You can see on the boots, too. On his big old feet, there's like tons of like mud splatter or rust or something. And it just makes it look really nice and premium. The paint applications on this figure are simply incredible. It's so good. Going over articulation for our leader of the Decepticons. His head is on a ball joint, and that moves around pretty good. A lot of wiggle waggle and turns side to side. He actually has a hinge on the ball joint that is attached to the neck. So you can actually have him moving down quite a bit if you want him looking down and telling Ironhide about his heroic nonsense. You can definitely do that. Actually, just to kind of give you a bit of an idea of how that would look. Such heroic nonsense. Incredible. So good. What else in his torso? So it seems like he has a ball joint in the torso, or just like multi-hinges, because he actually has a pretty decent crunch and a little bit of arc back and side to side, as well as a swivel right there. For his arms, he has very nice butterflies that move inward. He has outward joints. He has rotation. He has pretty tight bicep swivels, but they still get the job done. I don't know, something about it. I think it's because they painted the pegs. The pegs are painted, so it does leave it kind of tight. He has single-jointed elbows, but they give you a ton of range. You really cannot complain with that. That is an incredible single joint. His wrists are on swivels, but then after that you can see they're actually on a panel that will move in and out, and that's very nice. And then I already went over his hand articulation. His hip skirts, the sides move out of the way, and the fronts move out of the way. So that does free up a decent amount of range. His legs move all the way out. He doesn't have a drop down or anything for the leg, but you still get a pretty decent forward. Like, it still pretty much kicks all the way forward. He does have a thigh rotation. He does have a double joint at the knee that works very, very good. And last but not least, he has a swivel at the foot, and he also has a very nice ankle tilt and up and down and some toe. So he is loaded out with articulation. It is, in my opinion, the best non-transforming Megatron toy that we have ever gotten, hands down. Unfortunately, a reason I say that is because I don't really have any other non-transforming Megatrons to really compare this to. I never got the RED or the Super 7 or the 3.0. I do have the IDW model kit, which is incredible, but it's just not the same. because it's IDW. So I'm going to go ahead and compare it to the Siege Megatron mold. You can see here, this is my Netflix Siege version, which is one of the only decent versions of this mold. Cannot wait for that nice silver Takara Earthrise version, because this is kind of yellowy, and I'm not feeling it. I'm not. But you can see it's actually really big. It's like the size of a modern leader class, and it definitely has the heft. With the die cast and density of plastic and the paint applications, for the price you pay for these, they are well worth it. Obviously, he's in the next video, but I have to show it in this video just for the sake of if you're just watching this one. Here it is with the Yolopark AMK Pro Optimus Prime. And you can see, I think they scale beautifully together. Megatron just looks a little broader, just a little bigger. But both of these are so good. They're so good. And with Optimus Prime being the second release, I can already tell you for that review, they have already made improvements. They already have. Like, this thing, you know, it has a few little issues, but this thing is just, chef's kiss. Speaking of issues, I had to save the worst part of this toy until last. I would say, like, my little nitpick is that I'm not the biggest fan of the normal G1 face, but I'm just going to come out and say I'm not a fan of the display base this guy comes with. I'm just not feeling this. So it's just a C-clamp base, and it clamps around him all right, but I just feel like it should be a peg. Like, it should just peg into him. Like, I feel like there should just be a hole back here. Like, you can just remove a panel and peg him in, and that would just work so much better. But see, another problem is this armature. It is just poorly designed. You have a lot of articulation at this lower joint, which is very nice, but this upper joint, for whatever reason, there's like these little plastic limiters right there, and it limits how much you can move it. So you can only move it that far back and only that far forward. So by moving the joints and having this as like straight and short as possible, you can never have your Megatron on this base with his feet on the ground. Like, you just can't. I mean, it does wrap around his waist pretty good. You can clamp the C, and you can see he's going to hold. He is going to hold. The joints are very nice and tight. But he's never going to be on the ground. He will never be able to touch the ground. And if he does, like, just look at how awkward this looks. Like, he looks like Woody being strung up by Al in Toy Story 2. Like, it's just, I don't know, I'm not feeling it for basic poses. But this stand, because of its durability, is very nice for dynamic poses. So I still am not a big fan of this base. I'm not. I would prefer it if they improved the bases moving forward, because I'm just not really feeling this design. But I definitely think that, I mean, just with the figure's posability, having a very nice sturdy base definitely benefits him, because you can get him in some very nice dynamic poses, and especially since the bases can interlink. There's a way to interlink this base and Optimus Prime's base, and it just looks really nice. One odd little thing too, it has this Decepticon logo that you attach, but it's just around the back. You can't see it around the front, and it's just so odd to me. I don't know, the base is definitely my least favorite part. That's kind of why I saved it for last. Also, I kind of forgot about it because I just enjoy the figure itself more than the base. But hey, I appreciate the inclusion of a base anyway. It definitely adds to the quality and the bang for your buck, even though the base could definitely use some improvement. All of these little rivets too, I like undid the screw and I was wondering if you could like rearrange the rivets, but it just wasn't working out for me. I just really couldn't figure it. Like, there's just not enough space with the plastics and all that. There's better bases out there. But hey, it holds them up. Holds them in dynamic poses, and honestly, that's kind of all you can really ask for. Alrighty guys, there we go. There is my look at the AMK Pro Series Megatron model kit from Yolopark. The fact that the worst thing about this figure is just the display base, and even then it's not the worst thing ever, speaks volumes. This toy is incredible. I love it. It's so posable, so articulated, the joints feel nice and sturdy, the paint application is insane, I love all the accessories. This is definitely my go-to non-transforming Megatron, and I cannot wait to have both of these guys displayed together, duking it out. I am like so completist on Yolopark. I want all of it. They make incredible stuff. I'm looking forward to the Star Scream they're going to add in this line, and I'm sure they're going to do Bumblebee and Grimlock and Soundwave, and just give me all of it. I'll go for it. I will have a shelf entirely dedicated to Yolopark, I am sure, because their products are just that great. I highly recommend this Megatron. And again, if you are interested in this figure yourself, links down below in the description and the comments. Thank you so much for watching. I seriously appreciate it. Special thanks to Yolopark again, and special thanks to channel members. As always, thank you all so much for the continued support. Have a great one, guys, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.